So, good afternoon, everybody. We'll try to be quick. As you know, we have the voting for the statutes afterwards. But first of all, we have an important moment for a good friend. As you know, recently, due to personal reasons, Corinne Wortmann-Kool resigned her position as EPP Vice President. Hence, in the political assembly held on the 9th of April 2018, we opened procedures to call for candidatures to substitute her. On the 12th of April, our president sent a letter to the presidents and secretary generals of all our member parties, and we received one single candidature of colleague MEP Ster de Lange from the CDA from the Netherlands. Thus, in accordance with Article 11 of the EPP Statutes, in our political assembly that took place in June in Warsaw, we voted and elected Ster de Lange as EPP Vice President. However, according to Article 11, the EPP Congress must confirm the election held by the political assembly. So, colleagues, friends, we are now going to proceed with the voting. All delegates with voting rights are entitled to vote in favor, against, or abstain for the confirmation of Ster de Lange as EPP Vice President. So, please raise your signs, yes, vote. I give you time for all of you to raise those. Good, great, thank you very much. Against? This is against, huh? Yes? in abstentions? So, by unanimity, Ster de Lange, new Vice President elected of the European People's Party. And of course, on behalf of President Daul and the presidency of the EPP, we would like to thank Corinne Wortmann-Kool for her hard work and dedication during almost 6 years as EPP Vice President. And we wish her a prompt recovery. Now, we change the topic. We move to the discussion on the amendments on the statutes. In preparation for this Congress and according to the provisions of Article 26, sorry about that, but I have to cite this, paragraph 3 of the current bylaws, the EPP presidency decided to introduce amendment to our statutes. Hence, I call the EPP Working Group on Statutes to meet in Warsaw on the 4th of June, where we open an amendment procedure. We gave the working group members nearly 1 month to send us their proposals. We received 8 amendments, which were discussed in a second working group meeting that took place in Brussels on the 6th of September. These amendments were taken on the same day to our political assembly on the 4th, where they were approved by 2/3 majority. Today, you have now the chance to tell us if you agree with these proposals. To be approved, they need a simple majority of your votes. I propose that we vote each of the 4 amendments individually. You will have the opportunity to raise your signs and vote in favor, against, or abstain. The 4 amendments then will be on the Ethics Committee first, second, the EPP logo and program, third, our internal auditors, and fourth, the extension of the current EPP presidency. Luke, you want to explain us a little bit?
Yep, thank you, Tono. On the Ethics Committee, you will remember that in last year's Congress in Malta, our President Daul made an appeal that EPP will be the first European political party to draft a code of conduct on ethical behavior in politics. The Working Group 1, under leadership of our President, but also of David McAllister and my colleague Christian Kremer, drafted a resolution that called for the creation of an Ethics Committee and that lined up a number of principles and values which will guide our actions. Today, you are not requested to vote upon the code of conduct, but we would like you to vote upon the creation of this ethics committee. It's Article 25 of our statutes. Once this ethics committee is created, the political assembly will appoint 5 members of this ethics committee. The chairperson of this ethics committee will be chosen amongst the members of the presidency. This ethics committee will then draft a code of conduct on ethical behavior in politics based on the resolution adopted by Working Group 1 and the Political Assembly in December 2017. And it will submit that code of conduct for approval to the Political Assembly together with the internal regulations. The internal regulations will most likely deal with voting. Will it be majority voting? Will it be unanimity voting? The number of meetings they will have. Once approved by the Political Assembly, this code of conduct is valid. It will be notified to the member parties, to the associations, and to the individual members of the EPP. From that moment, from the moment the decision is taken by the Political Assembly, this code of conduct will be binding for all existing member parties and for future applicants. In future applications, new applicants will have to subscribe to the EPP code of conduct. Of course, this ethics committee will monitor the compliance on this code of conduct and will report eventual infringements to the presidency and to the Political Assembly. Political Assembly can then start to examine the possible breaches, and it can decide after hearing the member concerned to take action against one of the member parties or its members, and can eventually lead to the suspension of exclusion of that member party. So this is a very long story cut short on the creation of the ethics committee on, that will establish the code of conduct on ethical behavior in politics. Tono, we have to vote on this.
Thank you, Luke. I ask you please 1 minute of concentration from all of you. These are legal requirements. Let's now become serious about it. Thank you. So, we will vote now on the Ethics Committee. Votes in favor, please, raise. Thank you. Against? That is not the case. Abstentions? Okay, approved.
The second amendment we would like to vote upon is the obligation for our member parties, the member parties of the European Union, to display the EPP logo and the EPP program on their website. It is not something that we invented. It was invented by the Commission and the European Parliament. Again, another rule that has been imposed upon us. And I must say, initially, Tono and me, we were a bit reluctant, but in the end, we were happy because we managed for the first time to have 51 out of our 52 EU member parties 51 out of 52 EU member parties currently display the EPP logo and the EPP program on their website, thus strengthening the identification, the link with the EPP. So what we thought initially was well, something difficult to realize, and I would like to thank all our member parties who have been very forthcoming in helping us to fulfill this obligation. So 51 out of the 52 member parties have been following suit. The last member party, I'm pretty sure we will be able to convince in the next weeks.
So, on the publication of the EPP logo and program, please vote in favor. Great, thank you. Against? Abstentions? By unanimity approved. Internal auditors.
The third one, yeah, we are a bit embarrassed that we have to put this forward to you, but under the label of deregulation, the Commission and the European Parliament imposes upon us a new regulation. In our statutes, we have a provision with regard to the drafting of the budget and the approval of the budget, but we have got nothing in our statutes on the verification of the budgets, which is done by the internal auditors. That is in the internal regulations. Now the European Parliament asks us to bring us this into the statutes. So we're going to introduce a new article in the statutes with the competences and the powers of the two internal auditors that are currently verifying the EPP accounts.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, on the internal auditors, votes in favor. Votes against? I have one there? No, okay. Abstentions? Okay, approved by unanimity.
The last one is an important one. You will remember that we elected the presidency, the Secretary General and the President and the Treasurer 3 years ago in our fantastic Congress Tono in Madrid. That was in October 2015. Normally, the term of the presidency runs for 3 years. This would have meant that now we would have had to re-elect our President, Secretary General and our presidency. But of course you will understand that ahead of the start of the election campaign, the suggestion came to postpone, to extend the term of the presidency with 1 year until after the European elections. This extension was approved, as Tono said, by a 2/3 majority in the political assembly. So we would like to ask you to confirm the decision of the political assembly to extend the term of the current presidency until after the European elections, most likely in the Congress next year in November.
Good. So I ask from you a last effort. Extension of the term of current EPP presidency in favor?
Who dares to be against?
Against? Abstentions? Thank you. I love this kind of votes. Thank you very much, all of you, for your patience and understanding.